Warning, this podcast contains spoilers. What's up, everyone, and welcome to TVCaptive.com presents the season finale for the originals. Season 1, episode 22, From a Cradle to a Grave. I'm your host, Dom, and with me is my co-host, Omikins.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
It's alright.
That's how big the fish was? It was that big. I think it was this big. This big? It grows every time, right?
Of course.
So, what did you think of this finale? Now, mind you, we are recording this after both have aired, but we are not going to spoil Vampire Diaries. So,
there's really not much to say about the connections to Vampire Diaries for this.
There are a few, but
I mean, they're so minuscule it doesn't even freaking matter. You don't even.
I'll
doesn't
touch on
matter.
it in the end because there is one major point that may, but I will save it for the end. That way, if you guys don't want to hear it, you can not have to worry about it being spoiled and not miss anything else. So, what did you think of the finale?
I liked this finale.
This finale was amazing. I actually stood up. I watched this all by myself, right? I stood up and gave it a standing ovation. I did.
I would have as well if I were there, but I didn't think of it because I was squealing so much when the credits started rolling. I was like,
oh, I wish I was there. I wish I was there for that. So, we had a lot of predictions about who was going to die, who was going to live. I think the only one that you may have gotten wrong was Marcel. I think you predicted Marcel was going to die.
No, I didn't. I said Marcel couldn't die because he is one of the main characters.
Oh, okay.
So it must have been Mike, because it was not me.
Okay. So, yeah, pretty much everybody else died, just like we expected. I said Haley was going to die during childbirth, didn't I?
You did,
It was pretty close, right? Not exactly what happened, but it happened.
It happened.
But, yeah. So, the episode starts off in kind of like this weird flashback scene, but we'll talk about it. Was either a flashback or a dream sequence. I don't know which of it is, but we'll touch on it in a minute. We'll come back to that. What ends up happening is, as that scene is being dubbed over, we see Klaus storming into a church. The witches are giving birth to the baby, and Klaus is on a rampage. He lops some dude's head off. The witches pin him up against the wall, and after the witches deliver the baby, they end up killing Haley. Not your typical childbirth. But the one bright side is Klaus at least got to witness his daughter's birth.
This is true.
I think shit would have hit the fan if he didn't get to see that. He does care about that baby. He cares about Haley to a degree.
Yeah, he cares now more than ever before about a lot of things you probably wouldn't expect him to care about.
He's come a long way since the first episode. I actually went back and rewatched the first episode, and like, he didn't want the child at first. And then he just wanted it for power. And now it seems like he wants it out of love.
Yeah.
So, Klaus, of all people, had the hugest character arc this season. And something I did not expect coming from the Klaus we knew from the Vampire Diaries. So, you said you called Haley? We were talking about this in pre-show?
Yes. I knew. As soon as, like, the second after I saw her get her throat slit, I was like, oh, she's coming back. She's coming back. She had hybrid blood in her blood from baby, so she's coming back. She's not dead. I was fine with her being dead at that point in time because I knew she's coming back.
Interesting. Yeah, I had no clue. It didn't even cross my mind. I was like, well, she's dead. I knew she was going to die, and that's it. Didn't think anything of it. And then based on what we knew coming back from the Vampire Diaries universe, when we saw her later, I thought that that's what that was. And it really didn't hit me as she was alive, and I was super confused. But, so, what does this mean now for Haley being a hybrid?
Not much. I mean, she doesn't shift unless she wants to.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, she doesn't really have a thirst for blood, but she drinks blood, but she can sustain herself with other foods.
I don't know, the whole hybrid thing hasn't really worked out very well for Tyler's character. It just seemed like he's been in this really weird place, even when he transitioned over onto this show. So I don't know if making her a hybrid is really the right move. It just seems like they're isolated, and I don't think they handled Tyler being a hybrid very well. So I'm a little concerned for this character.
No, see, Tyler's character is a complete moron.
Oh.
Let's just put it that way. Haley has grown. She was just a skanky little wench before. Now she's a mother. We hated
her when she was in the Vampire Diaries.
We hated her. We couldn't stand her. And now that she's a mother and she has responsibility under her belt and she has a mission, because it's even though the baby is, not really around, kind of, she has this, she wants to protect the baby. I think the way that, I don't know how Klaus went about, he sired a bunch of hybrids. I don't know if it works the same way with the baby, but she has a crazy urge to protect her baby. Not more than a motherly urge. So I don't know if she's sired or not, or she's just super duper protective. Probably the wolf in her as well.
Yeah, could be a little of both. She may be sired to that baby.
Maybe.
Because Tyler was sired to Klaus.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know if that's a dominant trait with hybrids, because this would only be the second one.
Yeah.
Well, no, it technically wouldn't be the second one. There was what, 9 other ones?
Yes, and they all got slotted.
Were they all sired to Klaus? I think they were.
Yes, they were.
So, yeah, okay, so we've seen, this is the 10th example, or 11th example now, of a hybrid. But this is the first one that is not created directly through Klaus. So we don't know if the sire thing was Klaus specific.
The only way he could make hybrids was with doppelganger blood.
Right.
This baby is born hybrid.
Right.
So it's probably completely different rules and limitations.
Very well could be. Very well could be. So, we see later, shortly after this, we see Davina collecting Klaus's blood up off the streets to try to heal the vampires from the was it Klaus last episode that went on the rampage, or was it the werewolves? I don't remember. I think it was Klaus.
Klaus went after Marcel, bit Marcel, and the werewolves did the rest.
Okay. So it was a combination of both. So Davina is trying to resolve this. She goes in, she collects all the blood off the street through a spell, puts it into a cup.
Was freaking amazingly cool looking, by the way.
It did. It looked incredible.
Yeah.
So, just the way it was dripping up off the street on the cars. The only way they could have done that effect was to drop it and then play it in reverse. That's the only way that they could have done that. That was really cool.
But it still looked cool, even if that was the way they did it.
Yeah, it's amazing. So she gives the cup to Marcel, saying, "Don't make me choose," because it was only enough to heal one. Mm-hmm. Marcel ended up giving the blood to Josh instead of himself. Why do you think he was so noble with that?
Basically, he brought it on himself, and he knew that, and he had lived a long time. I think it was It was definitely a couple of things that made him choose. Like, he already lived his life. He brought it on himself, and he wants Davina to be happy, and he knows that Josh and her are really close. Mm. And the thing is, he kind of had like this really weird relationship with her. It was kind of like Stockholm syndrome between those two, because she loves him because he kept her prisoner for all that time.
Yeah. Which is really, really weird.
Yeah, so the whole Josh relationship seems more genuine, and I think he saw that.
Yeah, for sure. Upon Haley's death, Elijah comes into the church, sees Haley, he's devastated. He blames Klaus,
Yeah.
my invincible brother, this, that. He goes off.
Yeah.
Then they go searching for the witches. They make it to the graveyard, right? And upon getting there, we see Elijah actually break down for the first time ever. Like, he completely broke down.
Yeah.
And he's usually the calm, cool, collected big brother. And just see him so vulnerable. This is the first time we've seen him almost human. It was a little scary.
Yeah.
Like, what did you think of that side of Elijah? Did you expect Haley to devastate him that much?
No, I mean, he was so in love with Celeste, and from what I remember hearing, he was mad, but he didn't flip out like that. It was really a turnaround for his character. I mean, yeah, he was, the stand-up brother that, really didn't falter as far as, emotions go. And, yeah, to see him pretty much cry his heart out in front of his brother who seems heartless. Yeah. I don't have words for it because it was kind of surprising.
It was almost like this moment where he's the one keeping everybody in line. It's almost this moment where Klaus probably should have given him a hug.
He pat him on the shoulder, or held him on the arm or something.
Yeah, he did something like
lovingly.
That. Yeah, that's about as much out of Klaus as you're gonna get. So
it was still a gesture.
It was.
That gesture surprised me as well. I mean, he was concerned almost for Elijah because he consoled him.
He did. So, while they're searching for the witches, Cammy grabs Josh and... Was it Josh? No, it was Marcel. Grabs Marcel and Davina to try to go through her uncle's stuff to try to find something that's going to help them... track down the baby at this point? Or track down Klaus? I don't remember.
It was to kill Klaus. To kill Klaus or hurt him really bad. Yeah, get blood out of him, basically, yeah.
So, Davina starts snooping around. She grabs a bunch of relics. We see these relics sitting on the shelf, but we don't specifically see her take them. We see her touch them, fidget with them.
Mm-hmm.
But she ends up taking a watch, a bracelet, and something else. I don't remember what the third item was. And then they also end up taking a ninja star of sorts that was cursed to cut you 1,000 times or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But Davina ends up using this to bring Klaus's father Michael back from the other side.
The watch?
Yeah, all these relics that she had taken, she ends up using them to bring Michael back from the other side.
Mm-hmm.
How did she bypass him coming through the anchor, Bonnie?
Those relics. I mean, they're probably older than the anchor. Well, no, they wouldn't be older than the anchor because Omara was the first anchor. Old enough to bypass the anchor.
It's just it totally it boggles my mind because it's like we're told that all supernatural creatures have to go through the anchor, going out, coming in, like. Even overwhelming Bonnie like they've had to do in previous episodes of the Vampire Diaries just to come out. It just seemed a little odd to me that he's able to traverse through without going through the quote-unquote door.
Maybe they, witches don't know. Because, I mean, it was Katsea who made Amara the anchor in the first place, and she was a witch. And so maybe witches know how to bypass the anchor. It's just so lost in time that the only person who could figure out a possible spell was Esther.
Yeah, right. If anybody can do it, it's going to be Esther.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you mentioned, Davina had the Stockholm Syndrome where, she was captive, whatever. She started off this season as the secret weapon. Mm-hmm. And now she's using Michael as her secret weapon.
Yeah.
What does she have in store for Michael?
I don't know.
Nothing.
she's obviously got things planned, but I mean, I don't know what to think because that also surprised. I mean, there was a lot of surprises in this episode, and that was one of them. I mean, among many.
I have absolutely no clue. It's going to be trouble.
It is going to be trouble, big time.
I knew he was trouble when he walked in. Shame on me for even doing that.
Yeah.
It took me to places I've never been. I couldn't stop. I couldn't. I had to keep going. I apologize. No, I don't.
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, I'm not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. So, as Klaus and Elijah, they're wandering through the graveyard, and they realize that they've walked by the same statue 3 or 4 times. So the witches end up casting this illusion spell to make the graveyard seem endless. Mm-hmm. But then later on, after we learn Haley's alive and the hybrid, after they learn all this, Haley, she's got the instinct of the mother, whatever, so she's going. I understand that. That kind of makes sense of how she's going to fight the illusion. But then Marcel shows up in the middle of this fight. How the hell did he know where to go?
Blood magic. They all share the same blood.
But he didn't have any witches with him. He went by himself.
No. I mean that the witches didn't expect anyone else to help because they were busy cleaning up the werewolf shit and all that kind of crap. Ha. But no, I mean, they all share the same blood with the baby. So the witches used the blood magic to throw Klaus off, throw Elijah off, because they knew those were the only 2 people that were going to come after that baby. And they assumed Haley was dead, right? So I'm guessing that they used some sort of blood magic to cast it on, kind of like mini Hex on Elijah and Klaus.
Right. So Klaus ends up killing one of the Harvest Girls.
The blonde one.
And then Marcel ends up killing your favorite.
I'm so happy.
I wish I was there to see the look on your face, to see her get 1,000 cuts all over her body and then drop dead.
You know that meme with the baby and he's all like, yeah, that was me. That was me. I was so happy.
Yeah. So it was interesting. Marcel chose not to use that on Klaus, but to protect the baby. Marcel's always been one to help children. Mm-hmm. But then he kills a child.
Huh?
She's basically a child. Not a baby, but she's a child. He's been so against this. This guy goes against all his principles.
What do you mean he was killed? What?
The witch.
She had it coming, whether she was 2 or 87.
But still.
That bitch had to die.
But still, this is against Marcel's principles. And she didn't do a whole lot to Marcel. Yeah, she's 16. She's a child.
In some states, maybe.
She's not legal. She's a child.
Mm-hmm.
Don't look at me. I didn't mean it like that. She can't buy a house.
I'm sure if you had enough money at 16 and you were kind of legally announced that you are your own person and your own entity, you can buy a house.
You'd have to have a legal guardian at that point.
There are some people who are deemed to be their own legal guardian at, 16 because they don't have anybody else.
I still don't think you can get it until a certain age. Like, I know for a fact you can't even go on a cruise by yourself. At 21, you have to have... you have to be at least 22. Or go with someone else. It's ridiculous.
Well, that sucks for Canadians, because we're legal at 18.
Yeah.
It's lame.
Yeah.
Okay.
So...
Whatever.
She's still a
dead.
child.
I'm happy.
Yeah,
No.
obviously. Oh, you're lucky your camera froze for a second, because I was going to make some kind of thing, because I saw the bottle coming up, but it looked like you were just holding it there, and I was waiting for you to drink, and then I see you're already halfway through, and I was like, damn it. So, instead of killing or hurting Klaus to get the blood, he takes the baby back to the Mikealson house, and is going to use this to...
Use her as
barter
leverage.
with Klaus, leverage or whatever. But he comes back and the vampires are already dead. Now they blame the Guerrero werewolves, but it was actually Michael.
What's Michael? And I knew that was going to be a thing. That when he came back, he wasn't just going to go after Klaus like Davina wanted him to. He was going to kill every vampire in his wake because that's what he did before he got put away.
Yep. He very well may be one of those, what's their names from the... I totally forget now. From the Vampire Diaries, the beginning of the season.
A hunter?
No, the thing Damon and the experiments and all that.
I don't know. Some vampire cannibal bullshit going on there.
Yeah, why am I totally blanking on the name of the group? Augustines. The Augustine vampires. He very well may be an Augustine vampire. We don't know.
Well, he was created shortly after Esther cursed all their children. And wasn't it Esther who made him that way in the first place?
I don't know if Esther made him defeat on vampires. I don't remember. Don't remember. That was what, season 3 of the Vampire Diaries?
Yeah,
it was a while ago.
It was a while ago. So, but I know Esther made a Lark that way, but he kind of shook it off, right?
Lark didn't feed off them. He
just killed them.
He had the stake. That's where the invincible stake came from. That was a Lark's weapon. So
it's quite possibly the Augustine was started because of Michael.
Could have been. I think there's some ties to him somewhere in the thing, whether he was the original or if he was the inspiration. It was one of the two. And we'll probably end up learning that at some point, I think.
Yeah.
So, now that Marcel's redeemed himself, and he's been known to be so close with Davina, when Klaus finally finds out that Michael's back, is Marcel gonna get blamed for this again?
Probably. Considering, he made a speech about bringing Michael back the first time, and he was kind of like apologizing for that, Klaus would be like, "You lying bastard. You lying bastard." Or, Klaus might actually dig to the bottom of this and see how Michael got back and find out that it was just Davina the whole time.
Yeah, very well may. And then Klaus was not the one that helped Davina bring Josh back, so they have no ties anymore. So
no.
Totally, he could just be mad.
Well, I mean, Klaus can't run. He has his own show right now. So he's going to figure out the Michael deal, and it's going to go on. He's not running away from this.
I mean, he can run.
What kind of show would that be?
It follows him.
Sounds like Supernatural, all the road trips and stuff.
Yep. Be an interesting second season.
Yeah.
Your other favorite witch, Genevieve.
I actually didn't mind Genevieve.
I liked her. but I knew her from another show. She was on Stargate Universe.
Oh shit, she was.
She was. Yeah. Epiphany!
I have to go back and watch all of it again.
Yeah. So, before she died, she reveals that all of the witch's orders have been coming from Esther. Did you have any idea Esther could possibly have been pulling the strings this whole time?
Well, she's the oldest and strongest witch. Makes sense. I mean, well, she wasn't of that coven, but she got consecrated on their ancestors' land, so she became the oldest, strongest witch of those peoples.
Yeah, I knew that, like, I knew she was consecrated there, and I didn't think for a second that she was going to be pulling the strings behind all this. I had no clue.
Well, if anything, I thought she would have been, well, I guess from when she came back in the vamp. Never mind, scratch that idea. Completely run one track there. Nothing. It's gone.
It blew my mind.
Yeah.
It blew my mind. I had no clue whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Haley comes to the thing that she's going to give up the baby.
Yeah.
She comes to the conclusion that it's the best thing. And Klaus and Elijah, Haley, and even Marcel, they make this pact to clean up the mess in the quarter and send the baby off and not let anybody know the baby's still alive. Mm-hmm. Marcel knows, but Klaus is going to end up compelling him to forget in exchange for vials of his blood.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? How is that going to be explained that he's got these vials of blood now out of the blue and not know where they came from?
Klaus is probably going to spin a story that the Guerra wolves are back, and that Klaus made some sort of deal with that Marcel made some sort of deal with Klaus that, you know, just in case, you know, him or his vampires get bit, they have the vials on hand for, you know, curing. Because, I mean, whatever. But I really wouldn't know the deal on Klaus's end. But, I mean, that's how I guess he can spin it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, it was Marcel who eradicated them the first time. So he says anyways.
Yeah, it seems like these they've something that was mentioned very briefly in passing. I don't know how long it's going to take for these to come back up again, but I feel like it's going to be an important part of the story next season. I think it's going to be huge, just for the fact that they kind of swept it under the rug. We didn't see like him compel Marcel or give the vials or anything, and I think it was done intentionally, just to kind of, they said it, seeded it there, it's in the back of your brain, and it'll come out later. And you'll be like, oh shit, forgot about that. So, okay, so, what was it? The flashback dream sequence that, actually, before I get to that, Rebecca. Did you have any clue Rebecca was going to be in the finale? Any clue whatsoever?
Not any clue, but I expected it because she was a loved character. I mean, people liked the hell out of her. The reason why she came back, there was definitely no idea, no clue about that. If she wasn't going to come back as a person in the story right now, it would have been a flashback. At least. But glad she did.
I was muted for that. I had no clue whatsoever that she was going to come back. We knew she was leaving the show. We knew there was room for her to come back somewhere down the line. But it had actually been planned all the way from episode 1 that this is how this was going to end. And they knew.
Yep.
So it was just, it was shocking. They pulled the wool over our eyes. When she left, I thought that was it. I didn't expect to see her until the season 2 finale. That's how long I thought it was going to be until we saw her again. And just to see that, I was like, oh my God. I jumped out of my chair. I jumped up. I fist pumped. I looked like that baby you were just talking about. It was the best. It was the best. They really did a good job making her feel like she was gone. She ends up taking the baby to protect her. She's going to get a witch to cast a cloaking spell. Possibly, I was thinking Bonnie, but we don't know because we have Vampire Diaries stuff to talk about, and we'll get there at some point. But regardless, when she asks Klaus for the name of the baby, this is where it caught me off guard a little bit. Because like I said at the beginning that we were going to get back to this point, we get the flashback in the beginning where there's the dream sequence. Haley ends up, she's like writing a letter to the baby, and she originally calls it Zoe. Then she goes, or Caitlin, or Angela. Like, she's already got these names in mind. And I was thinking that the baby was going to end up being named Andrea, because that's what her name was supposed to be.
Okay. She
was Andrea, but then when she was adopted or whatever, it was changed to Haley. So I figured she was going to name the baby that. And Klaus goes, her name is Hope. And it's kind of a nod to a little discussion that Elijah and Klaus had that the baby represented. This was our hope, he said. This was our family's hope. And Klaus really took that to heart. So
yeah, he even cried.
He did.
He cried, and he gave Rebecca the biggest hug, and it was so heartfelt. I wanted to cry, but I didn't because it's not that sad or anything. It's not sad, but it was a good happy moment.
It was a very, very happy moment.
Yes.
The final scene. We see two people looking over a grave. One said something about, may you rest in peace. The lady goes, what's the fun in that? And we see her put a flower down on the grave. The two of them walk away before he goes, yes, mother, something, whatever, and they walk away. The final shot is them showing us the grave.
Yes, I know.
And it's Esther's grave.
It's Esther's grave.
So, who are these two people?
Well, obviously one is Esther.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that's with the girl is Finn.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking too. Because he had such a
he was a mama's
bond.
Boy.
Yeah.
He was a mama's boy. Yeah.
So, I am extremely disappointed that we have Finn back and no mention of Cole.
That's because, Cole kind of was, he's more rambunctious than Klaus even.
But still, so. I would 100% rather have Cole than Finn.
Yeah, but we all know Cole's off on, greener grass or something.
He's supposed to be in the Supernatural spinoff Bloodlines, but from what I understand, that show was not even greenlit. So I don't think it's even happening at this point. So Nathaniel Budzik, whatever, I don't even remember his last. It's something Buzz. I don't even know. I don't know. Buznik something. Buzz. I don't know. I
could have swore you said Buzzdick, and all I was thinking of was a really bad toy.
To infinity and beyond. That escalated quickly. Yeah, so that actor, he was on Pretty Little Liars this past season. He was on Supernatural for an episode. He's supposed to be in the Supernatural spinoff. All of which seem to be completed. That does leave him open for season 2. So, it's possible.
It's possible.
It's possible. there's been some talks now about season 2, about what we're supposed to be seeing, whatever. Julie Plec has stated that they would like to do flashbacks of what the quarter was like when the originals left for the first time, and we see Marcel building up the Empire.
That'd be interesting.
That would be a really interesting side that we have not seen yet. Rebecca seems like she's going to be back. But probably not right away. We're probably not going to see Rebecca or hear about the baby till at least the mid-season finale.
That makes sense.
So, enough time. How long do you think there's going to be between, like, time-wise gap between season 1 and season 2?
6 to 8 months.
Yeah?
If not, I mean,
in terms of the show, not in terms of real life.
No, that's what I mean. Like, from the beginning of season 2 to the mid-season be 6 to 8 months, or from the end of this season to mid-season finale season 2 will be 6 to 8 months. So there is that.
So you're saying we may see the child again right around the time where it's supposed to start walking?
Yes.
So.
Briefly, not like a big shot, because, working with kids and animals, I heard, is like the hardest thing in Hollywood, especially for TV shows, so.
Yeah. But once again, we don't know how fast the hybrid will be aging.
That's true. Maybe it's like Twilight aging.
A baby?
Eternally a baby? That'd be horrible.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm thinking, accelerated aging.
Wasn't that a thing in Twilight?
No, it was accelerated aging in Twilight.
That was for the birth, but I thought that there was something in Twilight about a baby that was turned into a vampire when it was a child.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just like Interview with the Vampire. If the kid dies and then gets turned into a vampire, yeah, it's gonna stay a kid.
Yeah, but I thought that was like banned in the Twilight universe, that they they seek those children out and killed them or something.
I have no idea, and if that's a thing, I skipped over it.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember somebody mentioning something about that, and it stuck with me because it was kind of morbid. I don't know.
That's probably why I skipped over it. No.
Did you actually read the Twilight books?
I did.
Because there was something interesting in this episode.
Is it?
Since
No.
we're on the topic of Twilight, I took this screen cap from the thing. This is the memorial wall, right? And there's a note right here that says, "Even Edward didn't die."
Is that photoshopped on there?
No, that's actually in the episode.
Oh my god.
I took the screen grab right from the actual episode.
So what does CHS mean?
I'm not sure. Could be the name of the person who died. Their initials are CHS, and the person that was mourning them put "Even Edward didn't die" on the slogan next to them. I don't know necessarily if it's a Twilight reference, but it very well appears to be one.
It's a good way to get around, problems and stuff with copyrights and all.
Yep.
Because the name Edward isn't patented or anything.
No. So.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I caught it, and I had to go back, and I was like, ooh.
I wasn't even looking.
I pay attention to weird things like that. Anytime I see writing, I pause it. This is what I do in every show. What you saw when we were doing our Pretty Little Liars podcast, they're flipping through the journal. I'm pausing the thing, and I'm like taking screen caps and like enlarging it and trying to read every little detail that's written in the journal. So anytime I see words, text, anything, like I try to read it. I don't do that so much in the witches' spell books because they're not written in English, so I give two shits less about them.
Yeah.
So the other part that we're supposed to be seeing in season 2 is the werewolves are going to have an uprising.
Of course.
Francesca is going to be the leader, and she's going to exile the vampires out of the quarter across the river, like Marcel said. My question is, how are the wolves going to react to Haley being a hybrid?
I
I
think
don't think they're gonna take it well.
You know what? I think they'll take it just fine. Well, not Francesca and her brood, but like Jackson and the other Crescent Wolves, they were already going to become hybrids, right? I mean, that's the deal they had with
Was
Klaus, or
it?
at least the rings. And
Yeah, no, it wasn't hybrids. They were gonna have the rings. So
he threw the rings out. Or no, okay, he threw out the idea of becoming hybrids, and they were like, they didn't really, But then he's like, okay, then they settled on the rings, so they wouldn't turn. I don't think that the Crescent Wolves and Klaus's family are gonna care two shits if she's a hybrid. In fact, they're probably gonna like it. And Jackson, being that he was supposed to be Haley's husband, I think he's gonna be more inclined to side with Klaus, and I think that's the twist. That once Jackson does, so does a lot of the other werewolves, and the Guerrers are gonna take a kick in the crotches.
Who do you think is gonna rise up to be the new leader of the human faction now that Francesca is no longer human?
I mean, the only person we know of that possibly can is Cammy. But I don't think that's a thing because her and Francesca just aren't getting along. So I think if a new faction leader comes up and Francesca don't like her, she's gonna like them. What the hell ever? She's gonna kill him.
Yeah, it seems like the whole factions is going to be thrown aside because this is something that the originals had put into place. And with Francesca running things and the Wolves running things this season, and did Klaus say he was going to duck out? He was going to disappear? And Haley and Elijah had to stay back and mourn?
They're going to stay low.
Yeah, but I thought Klaus was going to look for something. He was leaving to go do something.
I don't remember that.
So I remember him saying they had to look like they mourned and he was going to sneak out while they did something. While they were mourning.
Yeah, he said, you keep your presences
up. Oh, was that? Sneak out
just,
to give the baby.
It was just,
okay.
Yeah, it was just like at the memorial. He's like, you guys go mourn, make yourself look like you're mourning, and I'm going to go give up the baby to my sister.
Yeah.
And I'll be back.
What was going through your head when Marcel lured Jackson? Was it Jackson?
No, it was Oliver Twist.
Oliver Twist. When he lured Oliver Twist into that shop and he's like, you killed the baby, look in the box. What were you expecting out of that?
Were
you like, did Marcel really just kill a baby?
I really didn't know. I honestly didn't know what happened. I just... I mean, I didn't know what they're capable... I don't know what Klaus is capable of. I don't know what to protect themselves. I mean... But, the story goes. I mean, it was... stillborn.
Yeah, so I was actually a little upset at first. I was like, really? Really? You killed a baby? And then when they said it was a stillborn, I was like, not that that's much better, but
No.
At least they didn't kill it. So.
Well, I mean, I guess, like morality and stuff like that, it's disrespectful to the stillborn and its parents and all that, but I mean, they're protecting themselves,
right?
And it's going a much longer way than just putting up a shield.
Yeah,
I'm
sure Marcel didn't just steal the baby and run away. He probably compelled people at the hospital. So yeah, I'm sure the family wasn't mourning the loss of their stillborn. I think that I don't know. You have anything else to add about what you'd like to see next season?
Next season, I don't know. It's tough. I want to see more relationship depth between Elijah and Haley because I'm actually rooting for Elijah here because I think he needs it because he's been so lost with emotionlessness. That's not a word, but I just made it up.
Emotionlessness? I think that's a word.
If it is?
I think it is.
Awesome. Okay, but yeah, he's just not... He's been, stoic forever. He's been a stoic character forever, so I think he needs a little bit more, character development in, the roller coaster sense. the ups and downs.
Yeah. The only thing that's going to be interesting to me is to find out what happens when Michael and Esther are in the same place at the same time.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure Esther has no idea Michael's back.
Mm-mm. She seemed too preoccupied with getting herself back.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings to question, how did she get back?
The Harvest Girls. 2 of them died.
Hmm.
So, I mean, the girl that she's in is one of the Harvest Girls.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it the 4th Harvest Girl?
Yeah.
Okay, so then who
She
is
just
Finn
took-
in?
Finn was in some random dude. I have no idea. I mean, yeah. I have no idea. I mean, we saw Papa Tunde's boys.
We did. They threw
did.
Klaus through a mausoleum.
Yep. So, I mean, if they didn't show up, I would have thought that was one of them, but it's not.
Hmm.
So he might have story in the backgrounds as far as, when the originals were in New Orleans the first time, and they kind of roughed him up a bit, maybe killed him, and Esther was like, bitch, you coming back.
Yeah.
Psych these buggers out.
Yes, for sure. I think that about does it, right? You have anything else to add? I think that's about it.
That's about it.
Yeah. I'm looking more forward to this season than I thought I was going to.
It was, okay, up to the last couple episodes of the originals this season, it was getting really dumbed down, and it just seemed like the same thing over and over and over again. But now it's okay. They've set up a lot of things
They fixed
to happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You can only fight over the quarter for so much, and have the same 4 factions battling each other out for control, and one always had the upper hand, and now the werewolves have the upper hand right now, whatever, but we haven't seen the werewolves rise to power, so it's still a little bit different.
It's different. It's still a power struggle, though.
Yeah.
I mean, going into this, I hope it's not going to be a power struggle all the way through.
I will cry.
I mean, with the Michael thing and Esther, definitely going to throw a wrench into that garbage disposal.
For the originals. And even for anybody, but mainly the originals.
Mm-hmm.
Because both Esther and Michael want them dead. So.
Esther, you made them, you stupid wench.
Yeah, but she also wants to unmake them, like we saw last time we saw her in, season 3? 4?
I don't care.
I think it was season
Her logic
3.
doesn't even, I just want to be like, bitch, shut up.
I don't know, I want to see her and Michael get together. I want to see if they're going to fight or if they're going to team up.
I hope they don't team up. That'd be horrible.
That'd be amazing.
No. Julie, do not do this.
Julie,
do not team them up.
Julie,
no.
do this.
No.
Julie, do this. It'll be like the Winchesters.
Well, one of them always dies, so, whatever.
This is true. So, Umi, where can the people find you?
They can find me on Twitter.
LadyVenom24.
LadyVenom24. LadyVenom24.
You can find me down below at do. You can find us all on PHENOMEDOM. You can find us all and others on tvcaptive.com, as well as on Twitter, Facebook, Gmail, G+, and right here on YouTube /ASOTV podcast. For more podcasts for some of your favorite TV shows. Fortunately, all the fall shows seem to have been ending. Summer shows are up in the air. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned. At the very least, you'll see us return in the fall. Till then. See you guys later.
Ciao.
I'm not hungry.
Ciao. Chow-chows are dogs.
Chow is food.
But a chow-chow is a dog.
But now I'm hungry.
For dogs?
Arf, arf.